Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Pacific414 episode review. I am your host, Mike. Welcome to this early edition of Pacific414 episode review, the first of three live streams today on the Pacific414 channel, as a matter of fact. But first, we're going to be talking about. Oh, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Bad Batch, episode number 13, Infested. Infested starts off with Clone Force 99 returning on the Marauder back to Ord Mantell. And when they arrive at Sid's parlor, they realize things have changed. There are new hooded members of a crime syndicate on the streets of Ord Mantell, and they're even in Sid's bar. And not only that, Sid's not in her bar. When they go into their office, they're introduced to a crime lord named Rowan Durand, and he and his group have taken over Sid's parlor, all for some spice. Now, this spice turns out to be very valuable to Sid, and the way the group finds out is once they leave Sid's parlor after having an exchange with Rowan, they see that Sid is on board the Marauder, and this happens after Omega has had a discussion with the group, voicing her concerns as far as Sid's safety is concerned. And this is when Sid mentions how valuable the spice is and that Clone Force 99 needs to help her regain the spice from her office. So she comes up with this plan to go into this underground mine shaft and use some mining cars that were used back in the old days of Ord Mantell. They managed to go into two mining cars, take the mining cars to the underground location where Sid's office would be up above. Hunter and Echo go into Sid's office along with Tech and Wrecker. They retrieve the spice, and as they're making their way back, Rowan's men end up chasing them. They end up getting back into the mine cars. The Marauders who are chasing them end up firing some laser shots. Wrecker fires back. This wakes up some bugs who are nocturnal bugs, and any sound, any light will disturb them. Well, what ends up happening is Wrecker drops his flashlight. That goes down. There's nothing that happens at one point in this episode. But when Clone Force 99 is being chased, along, the spice that's on board, there are mining cars, that's when things go awry. These nocturnal bugs end up coming from their den, and they start attacking. Of course, there's blaster fire everywhere. It leads to the Bad Batch crew managing to escape, sealing off the mine shaft, leaving two guards to fend for themselves and end up in peril. Sid is happy to be back, but Rowan, once he finds out that the office has not only been invaded, but the spice is gone, is none too pleased. And he's none too pleased because there's another faction involved in this story, and that would be the Pikes. Sid does warn Clone Force 99 that you don't want to get on the Pikes' bad side. You want to make sure that you stay on their good side because you don't need the Pikes hunting you down when you have the Empire hunting you down. What ends up happening is the Pikes show up for their spice payment. The crates aren't there. Rowan says that he's been robbed, but he can get the spices back. He just needs more time. Of course, the Pikes don't want to give him that time. And what ends up happening is Excuse me 1 second. I thought I was going to sneeze. But what ends up happening is Rowan's men are sent to recover the spice, but little do they know, after a few crates of the spice had dropped from the mining car when Clone Force 99, Sid, and Omega were trying to get away, well, little do they know is that they're being pursued as well. And of course, what also ends up happening in this story is Clone Force 99 and Sid encounter the Pikes when Sid and Clone Force 99 go back to her parlor. They think it's all emptied out of Rowan's men. It's not. So, what ends up happening is the Pikes cut a deal with Sid. They say, get us spice, and the girl, meaning Omega, can live because Omega's being used as an exchange, as a bargaining chip. So, Clone Force 99 along with Sid go to the caverns where the mine shaft are, and Wrecker and Sid are lowered down via wire harness. They manage to recover all 6 of the crates. There's, bugs, the Irdels, I believe that's what they were called. They were nocturnal bugs. Well, they end up being disturbed after another ruckus happens. Sorry, I know I keep pausing. I do apologize about that. But all in all, the crates are recovered. Omega is set free once Sid and Clone Force 99 return with all the crates of spice. And Rowan ends up getting his horns cut off because Rowan is a two-horned creature. We saw it in episode 5 of The Mandalorian. I'm just not sure what the alien species is called. So this episode wasn't a bad episode. It was, more what you would expect in a location like Ord Mantell, with Sid and a few other, scum and villainy around the port, around the area. So, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a particular favorite of mine because I did think it was a little slow at times. But all in all, not a bad episode. Again, it was Omega and Sid who took the lead in this episode, where, you know, you would have hoped that maybe Hunter would have taken the lead for strategic purposes, but I guess because you got to look at it this way too, that Sid knows about these two crime syndicates, the Pikes and the Durans, and how dangerous the Pikes can be. So she's trying to protect not only herself, but she's also trying to protect Clone Force 99 and Omega, since she knows their secret. And she even brings that up in the episode. So, all in all, not a bad episode, like I said. Not a particular favorite of mine because I did think it was a little slow, but it wasn't bad. There were some parts, especially going through the mine shaft, that, I just thought were slow, and these weren't the action sequences. I just gotta attribute that to the time in the morning when I watched it, and maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset to watch the episode, but I did so anyway. So all in all, it was an okay episode. So that's gonna conclude this episode of Pacific414 episode reviews. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. And I do want to let you know that at 5:30, or as soon as the game goes final, there will be episode number 248 of the box score this afternoon at 5:30 Eastern. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern, there will be another episode of Pacific414 episode review. And I will be going over the first episode of Masters of the Universe Revelation, The Power of Grayskull. So until then, folks, take care, and I shall see you later.